This is Chris Kelly with a new format as far as our continuing education goes for our trainers. I'm actually going to take apart the cardio workouts that I ask to be written on both Tuesday and Thursday, just to continue to update my thoughts, to give my feedback and my thought process as far as how I would write this, why I would do it, so to give you a better idea of kind of where I'm coming from and to give you some ideas. Now, when we look at this workout, okay, we have an ab circuit is good. We have a half get up on the right, half get up on the left, plank toe rock. Those both involve exercises that we've kind of identified in our templates as things that are desirable. We're training core stability there, so we're not doing a lot of things such as like sit-ups, Russian twists. And really the reason behind that is we don't want to do a lot of things that bend, rotate, and flex the spine, just because that's something that people do all day. And really the purpose of good core training is to prevent those motions, all right? For the general population, certainly sit-ups are going to be something that are important for some people, but for our purposes, these exercises we know are safe and will do the job, okay? So those all work. Now, as far as the circuit goes, we have a 50, 45, 40, 35, 35, 20, 20, etc. Okay, and here are a couple observations here. First and foremost, what I want you to start to think about is to look at format, okay? Rather than just a collection of random exercises, these things these workouts are generally performed after the client has had a strength training day, okay? So it's really important what we pick as far as the distribution of stress, simply because too much, people start to get knee, low back problems, that sort of thing, and that's actually what we've seen in this particular cycle. So we need to start looking at that, start to distribute that a little bit better. Now, with a format, generally I'm going to be looking at these, all right? When I'm writing these workouts, say we have 5 exercises. I'm either going to look upper lower total, because for one thing, that's going to distribute blood throughout the body and that's going to get the heart rate up. The other thing is, again, it's going to distribute stress evenly. Or I'm just going to look upper lower, okay? The other thing to think about is that we want to make sure that we're trying to place priority on exercises that are a bit lighter, okay? We can go higher rep on certain things, but things like Spider-Mans, medicine ball slams, things that are a little bit less impactful to the body on days when the client's already fatigued are going to be preferred. So let's look at this workout. Let's kind of look at my thoughts on it. Okay, first and foremost, it's 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. People do like a lot of exercises, and I think that there's value in that, but I like fewer, just because, number one, it's easier to remember, and number two, we want the person to have an element of memorization to this. It should be easy to remember. It should be ease of use. They shouldn't necessarily have to be having to come back and look at the board. And I mean, certainly that's okay, but it's just something that, you know, when we're doing a cardio workout, we want the person to just be going the whole time without their heart rate coming down. So it's one of those things where this gives them the opportunity to have a break and to stop for a while. And that can either be good or bad, but again, it's just one of those things in the beginning logistically as well. It's hard for them to remember all of these things at the start, so that creates more work for you as the trainer. Whereas, you know, 3 to 5 exercises, easy to remember. You can remind the client quickly. They don't have to go over the board and stop. So I think that there's value in that. But when we look at breaking this down, if we look at these categories, we start at the bottom with burpees and inchworms, okay? And those are both exercises that are working essentially the same part of the body, because the person is going to be in their hands, all right? We've had a lot of wrist, elbow problems this cycle, and again, these are two things that sort of overload the same area, okay? So these are two pairs that work the arm. So ideally, instead of, say, maybe burpees, I would have done something, a lower body exercise, so say a squat, a reverse lunge, whatever it may be. The next two exercises, as we see, kettlebell swings and step-ups, are both working legs at the same time. And again, there's nothing wrong with this necessarily if we're trying to overload the legs, but because this is a recovery day, you know, that's also something to look at. Again, upper, lower, or maybe total might have been something that, you know, would have distributed stress a little bit more evenly. Plank to push-up and starburst jumps are great because, again, that's lower body, upper body. Those two things are getting a little bit higher rep. There are two things that can be done higher rep. The one note that I would make on the plank to push-up is to do it elevated. Again, we're getting down. We do a lot of the exercises in prone positions anyway. So especially on days that are I guess, recovery days or days that are cardio days, which are supposed to be more recovery based, we want to do easier versions of those exercises, even when we're talking about push-ups or what have you. Because again, the idea on this day is not to overload the muscles; it's to get the blood flowing and to get the heart rate up. So we don't need to go 100% as far as the intensity of or weight of an exercise goes. All right, now. If we connect the next two, okay, which would be frog hops and tricep dips, those are good because, again, upper, lower. And then we have medicine ball slams and mountain climbers, which are two total bodies. So those are good as well because medicine ball slams is standing, mountain climbers is going to be on the hands. So that's fine, okay? And all of those things, because they're not using the same areas of the body. If I did mountain climbers followed by burpees, that wouldn't necessarily work because, again, we're staying on the hands, which overload that area. So the bottom line with this is just try to pick things that are getting the client up and using different areas of the body. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by that because I rewrote this workout just, again, the way that I would do it. This is fine, this will work, but I just wanted to give you kind of an idea of some changes that I made that will give you maybe some ideas in the future. So I'm just turning this over here. Excuse my camera ship. Okay. So let's look at this workout, and 3 things to look at with this workout. All right, number 1, we're creating an individual challenge. All right, and I think with a workout, it's all about creating an experience. All right, we want people to, number 1, we don't want them to be bored, but number 2, we want them to push themselves as hard as they can within their limits and within our instructions. So number 1, this is going to be an individual challenge. Okay, and what I've done with this workout is I've said we're going to time 3 times to finish. Okay, so we want the client to go through this stuff as quickly as they can 3 times, and then if they finish 3, they can keep going just at a slower pace or they can move to the easier level, and we'll talk about that in a second. I've categorized out the different numbers because categories help us to balance. All right, that gives us an idea of, okay, if this doesn't work for that person, then I could sub this realistically. And finally, we want to vary the environment. Okay, doing everything in one place again kind of gets back to that idea of being boring. So we want to vary inside, outside, GF1, GF2. Generally, and this is something we need to get back to, having things in 2 locations is always going to be preferred, whether that means breaking up clients into 2 groups and starting them in different places, or if that means, and for a cardio workout, that might mean creating a cluster downstairs and a cluster upstairs. But for today, we just have 1 exercise that's done outside just to break up the monotony. Okay, and finally, again, with these, I took the exercise number down a little bit just because, again, I took it to 5 just because for me it's easy to remember. Okay, and that's me too because I'm scatterbrained. But when we say, so we have 10, okay, and this is our upper body exercise. The other thing to notice with this is that we have a hard and an easy. As the coach, you have to decide who does hard and who does easy, but it's going to be pretty easy to tell. Our less fit clients, the people that haven't been in boot camp as long, clients with a little bit more weight, are going to do the easy because they don't need to do anything else. That's going to get their heart rate up and it's going to work for them. And we want to do the least amount possible to get the client the result that they're looking for. Okay, this is not based upon how much the client sweats during the day. It's based upon how they feel by the end of the week. Okay, and that really is the truth. So if we're looking at our upper body. For our hard, we have a 1-arm push-up row. Okay, so that would be like when the client's in a renegade row position, they're just pulling 1 dumbbell. An easier version would be a bent over dumbbell row because here it's the same basic movement pattern, but now the client is standing up and they're not in a prone position. So we're taking a little bit of weight off their upper body. For 20 reps, we're doing a forward frog hop, and essentially that's a broad jump where the client's holding their hands down and they're hopping forward. And then, if for easier, we go frog squat walk. So they do a frog squat, walk forward, do a frog squat, walk forward. 30, we have a triangle drill, which is performed outside. And the way I would do that is I'd set up cones in a triangle, and I'd have them sprint, shuffle, whatever I wanted to do, and I'd count each cone as 1. Okay, so I shuffled 1 cone, sprint to the next, shuffle back. Okay, and again, that way, in each length of cone would be 1, so that would equal 30. Otherwise, we can do a medicine ball granny toss outside as well for our beginners, so they get to go outside too. 40 would be hard TRX row. Easier would be a band pull down. There again, just because they're having to grip, the grip is less sustained with a band pull down. down versus a TRX row. They don't have to grip as hard. And then 50, I did a burpee to medicine ball slam versus a medicine ball slam. So again, the big thing here, none of these exercises are in like sustained long-term positions. It's not like renegade row, burpee. So just vary the environment of as far as where their hands are placed, where their arms are placed. I hope that makes sense. But again, this is getting them into different positions. It's breaking up some of the physical repetitive stress in their body, and it's just going to give them a little bit more ability to move around. So anyway, this is my template for today. Again, what we would do is we'd have them write their names down. They'd write their time to 3 rounds. You know, maybe we reward some sort of prize. And again, this creates a challenge for them to do, and it creates a purpose for that workout. Okay, it gives them purpose, and at the beginning of the workout, that's something that we can also explain to them. So I hope this makes sense. It gives you some food for thought. Those are my ramblings for today.